Something happened on live television that left millions of live, with Kelly and Mark fans, completely stunned. Mark Consuelos, one of Hollywood's most beloved husbands, one half of daytime TV's most iconic couple, made a confession nobody saw coming. And Kelly Ripa? She had feelings about it. Lots of them. This is the full story. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the end. Welcome back to the channel. If you're a fan of celebrity news, Hollywood couples, and behind-the-scenes talk show drama, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're diving deep into a moment that went absolutely viral in the entertainment world. A moment that started with a simple, honest conversation on a Monday morning and ended with fans flooding social media, worried about one of their favorite TV hosts. We're talking about Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, a couple who have been married since 1996. A couple who famously worked together every single morning on national television. A couple that somehow, after nearly 30 years, still manages to surprise us. And on one particular November morning in 2025, Mark Consuelos surprised everyone, including his wife, with a health confession that no one had seen coming. Before we get into what happened, let's take a moment to appreciate just how remarkable this couple really is. Kelly Ripa has been a fixture of American daytime television since 2001. She joined Liv alongside the legendary Regis Philbin, and from that moment on, she became the gold standard of morning talk show hosting. Warm, witty, effortlessly relatable, she turned a simple morning chat show into must-watch television. Over the years, she co-hosted alongside Michael Strahan, then Ryan Seacrest. But when her husband Mark Consuelos stepped into that co-host chair in 2023, something magical happened. Suddenly, Live with Kelly and Mark wasn't just a talk show. It was a front-row seat into the world of one of Hollywood's most enduring love stories. Mark Consuelos, of course, is not just Kelly's husband. He's a legitimately accomplished actor, known for his long-running role as Hiram Lodge on Riverdale, and a career that spanned decades in both television and film. He's charming, he's funny, and he has this natural charisma that translates beautifully on screen. Together on live, they are electric. But even the most beloved TV couples have moments that catch viewers completely off guard. And this was one of those moments. It was a Monday morning, November 17th, 2025. The kind of crisp, ordinary morning that usually kicks off with lighthearted banter and celebrity interviews. But Kelly and Mark had something different on their minds. The conversation started with a concept that's actually becoming more and more talked about in health and wellness circles, something called FOFO. That stands for the fear of finding out. Kelly opened the discussion by making a passionate case against FOFO, pointing out how dangerous it can be to avoid medical checkups out of fear. There are things you can nip in the bud, she told the audience earnestly, and instead, you let it get to the place where it's beyond repair. It was a meaningful, important message, but no one in that studio and no one watching at home quite expected what came next. Mark Consuelos looked at the camera, took a breath, and quietly admitted that he had, just a couple of weeks earlier, undergone his very first colonoscopy. At the age of 54, the studio went quiet for just a moment, and then the reaction began. For context, the Mayo Clinic recommends that adults begin colonoscopy screenings at age 45. Mark had delayed the procedure by nearly a decade, and now, sitting on live television in front of millions of viewers, he was owning that decision and finally talking about it. "I'm 54 and I hadn't had one yet," he admitted openly, so that's late. Fans immediately started reacting. Social media lit up. But that wasn't the end of the story. Because Mark Consuelos, being the endlessly entertaining person that he is, didn't just stop at the announcement. He took viewers along for the full experience. He described lying on the medical table, determined to stay conscious through the procedure just to see what it actually felt like. "I want to see what this felt like," he told the audience with a laugh. But the anesthesia had other plans, and before he knew it, he was completely out. And when he came to, the first thing on his mind was apparently his son, Joaquin. You see, as Mark sat in his recovery room, he noticed his nurse, And in true Mark Consuelos fashion, his mind immediately went to matchmaking. He wanted to ask her if she was single. He wanted to set her up with his son. He wanted to do all of this while still coming out of sedation from a medical procedure. "I see my nurse, and she was adorable," he recounted, grinning. "I thought she'd be amazing for Joaquin. But I shut my mouth." The studio erupted. Executive producer Michael Gelman was applauding. The audience was in stitches. And Kelly Ripa? She was simultaneously charmed and completely exasperated, the way only a wife of 29 years can be. "All I know," Kelly laughed, "is you came home hungry and wild." That line alone broke the internet. And then something surprising happened, a piece of information that actually gave fans real relief. Despite the delay, despite the years of putting it off, despite all of it, Mark's results came back perfectly clean. He is in excellent health. His doctors gave him the all clear. And not only that, they told him he wouldn't need another colonoscopy for a full 10 years. For fans who had been holding their breath, it was the moment of relief they needed. But what made this segment truly resonate was what happened beneath the humor. Because if you watched closely, underneath all the laughter and the jokes about nurses and Joaquin, there was something genuinely moving happening. Kelly Ripa, the woman who has stood beside Mark Consuelos through nearly 3 decades of marriage, was clearly emotional about it too. She had clearly championed this moment. She had clearly been part of the journey of getting him there. When she said that people avoid medical checkups and let things get to the place where they're beyond repair, that wasn't just a talking point. That was personal, and fans felt it. The internet, predictably, had an absolute field day. Clips of the segment spread rapidly across platforms. Entertainment outlets picked it up within hours. Fans flooded comment sections with messages of support, relief, and overwhelming affection for the couple. Many viewers specifically praised Mark for being so open about his health experience, pointing out that conversations like this, on platforms as widely watched as Live with Kelly and Mark, carry real weight. When a celebrity speaks honestly about putting off a medical procedure, it has the power to move mountains in terms of public health awareness. Healthcare advocates and doctors took to social media to thank Mark for normalizing colonoscopy screenings, a topic that, despite being potentially life-saving, is notoriously underdiscussed because of embarrassment or fear. Several fans shared that after watching the episode, they finally scheduled their own long-overdue screenings. That's the power of authentic storytelling on live television. And that's exactly what Kelly and Mark do better than almost anyone else. There's something deeply endearing about this whole story when you step back and look at it. Here are 2 people, legitimately famous, legitimately successful, living what many would consider a dream life, sitting on national television talking honestly about fear. About the fear of medical procedures. About the very human tendency to avoid the things that scare us, even when we know deep down that facing them is the right thing to do. Mark Consuelos isn't just a talk show host. He's a 54-year-old man who procrastinated on an important health screening for years, just like millions of Americans do every single day. And Kelly Ripa isn't just the polished, perfectly witty host we see on our screens every morning. She's a wife, a partner, someone who sat beside her husband and was proud, genuinely, visibly proud of him for finally doing the right thing for his health. That's the real love story here. Not the Hollywood glamour, not the red carpets. It's the quiet, real, unglamorous stuff, the medical appointments, the tough conversations, the relief when the results come back clean. That's what fans connected with. And that's what made this moment so much more than just another celebrity news story. It's hard to overstate how important Live with Kelly and Mark has become in the pop culture conversation. The show moved to a brand new studio in April 2025, a fresh chapter that came alongside new energy, new chemistry, and an audience that is more engaged than ever. The ratings have reflected that. The cultural conversation around the show has reflected that. And moments like this November health segment are exactly why. Because Live with Kelly and Mark isn't just a talk show in the traditional sense. It's a conversation between friends. Kelly and Mark bring their real lives into that studio every single morning, and audiences, quite simply, cannot get enough of it. When Mark is absent, which has happened occasionally due to his acting commitments, fans notice immediately. When Kelly steps away for a vacation, viewer messages pour in. This is a show that people have woven into the fabric of their daily lives. And episodes like The Health Confession remind us why. Because they are real. Because they matter. Because sometimes a laugh out loud moment about a post-procedure nurse and a son named Joaquin turns into something genuinely meaningful. At the end of the day, this is a story about courage of a quiet, unglamorous kind. The courage to walk into a doctor's office when you've been avoiding it for years. The courage to be honest about that on live television. The courage to laugh at yourself, share your experience, and maybe, just maybe, inspire someone else to make that appointment they've been putting off. Mark Consuelos got his colonoscopy. He got good news. He came home hungry and wild, according to his wife, and he told millions of viewers about all of it. And Kelly Ripa, the woman who has been by his side through nearly 3 decades, through 3 children, through every season of this remarkable life they've built together, sat beside him, laughed with him, and made sure the world knew that fofo is a very bad thing to have. That's the update. That's the story. And honestly, it's one of the warmer, more uplifting ones we've covered in a while. Hollywood's most beloved couple, still showing up, still being real, still making us feel like we're sitting right there with them every single morning. Long may they reign over daytime television. Now I want to hear from you. Did watching Mark talk so openly about his health experience inspire you to schedule any of your own overdue checkups? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And be honest, we're a fofo-free zone here. If you enjoyed this celebrity update, subscribe for more entertainment news and Hollywood stories. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a moment, because with Kelly and Mark, there's always something worth talking about.